You know what the best part about fishing is? No matter if you're a tournament fisherman, just an everyday fisherman, a pond fisherman, it's getting a bite and setting a hook. And I don't know what the deal is with this slacklining. I mean, I kind of get it, like you get excited, but there's some guys that's the way they love to do it, but not for me. I like when I get a bite and I set the hook, I like catching them. And if I do the slacklining thing, I usually jerk them out of the water or lose them. So what I like to do, it doesn't matter if I'm fishing 1 foot deep or 25 foot deep. When I feel that bite, I like to get all the slack out of my line. Exactly the opposite of slacklining. And I like to feel that fish swimming a little bit, and then I like to set the hook. But I definitely do not like to set the hook with a slack line. But my thought is, I mean, our hooks are so good and sharp. I mean, the old days, back when we were all using, you know, string, clear blue, fluorescent, real stretchy line. You know, now our line has way less stretch. We got braided line, fluorocarbon line, copolymers, which is all way less stretch. And our hooks are so much sharper now than they used to be. So maybe back in the day, with the stretchy line and dull hooks, the slack lining thing, maybe I could see a time and a place for that. But the technology that we're using to build rods now, I mean, they're so much lighter and stronger and more powerful than rods of even 10 years ago. I don't think in today's modern era of bass fishing, there's a place for slacklining. Hey, if you guys like the slackline, knock yourself out. Hey, but if you don't mind, leave a comment so I can read it, and then maybe I can understand it a little better. But I'm telling you right now, dude, I fished with him, and he slacklines every one of them.
Oh, you got my chunk. Stop by and buy some contraceptives because I got screwed on that one.
Dude, I swear, I've never seen anything like it. Like he's got his rod like this.
Yeah.
You know, shaking his rod and he get a bite and he goes, there he is.
Got my chunk. And that, my friend, is a slackliner. You bet the wrong one, son. Today's the day that the balling out jig got up in your face. So to slackline or to not to slackline, I prefer to slackline. Some people are, you know, bike riders, and some people are slackliners. I like to just drift it. Oh, I missed another one. The whole key is to put everything you got, even your rectum, into it. And you need to start it low, like singing in a choir, and then bring it up. It makes me feel good. Got that one. It really comes from the toes. I mean, it's got to start low. I mean, you can't just, if you were that, you would just be like a slack tapper. You just wouldn't be a slack liner, but you got to get it. And you can see when they hold on to it, it drives the hook through the skull. Everybody has their own theory. He's got it too. I mean, like he said, I've ate the jig that bit back. It's an art. I mean, you don't slackline with your rod sky high when you start. True slackliners hold the rod about, you never see them get their jig above the rod above 10 o'clock. You start right in here. Can't slackline when your rod's all the way back. Everyone has a style of hook set. There's guys that reel down, tighten down, there's guys that sweep to the left and the right. The reason I've been a slackliner, I mean, yeah, I grew up fishing this way, trying to set the hook on a jig deep with a lot of line stretching, but it didn't take me long to realize that if you took a needle and you walked up to a balloon and you pushed real slow, you can get that needle, you can get it to move. You can actually push that balloon, that plastic, before it pops. But if you take that needle and jab it in that balloon, it's going to pop immediately. So my theory on the hook line, on the slackline hook set, it's about hook penetration as fast as it can get in there. I'm wanting to get the tip of that hook started in the fish's mouth and drive it in there. So I'm going to slackline and then reel like crazy, just to try to penetrate. Big fish, if you get hold of a 6 or 7 pounder on a jig or a 4 pound spot, they got a tough mouth. So you want all the penetration you can get. So the quicker, faster snap you get on that hook, the faster it goes in. I mean, you can lay a hook on your hand and start trying to ease it down in there, pushing, Takes a lot of pressure, but you ever notice how easy it is to stick it in your hand if you just jerk it up in there? Like, oh, I got my hook in my hand. Don't take much pressure at all. So slackline is all about better hook penetration, and that's it. The reason I do that, it's not because the rod's too limber or the line doesn't have, has too much stretch. This is the highest end equipment I can get. This is a 7.3 medium heavy rod, super fast tip. This is 16-pound shooter sunline, fluorocarbon, which is a minimum stretch to it. But it's all about technique and hook penetration. It has nothing to do with inadequate equipment or anything like that, or the line's too stretchy. No, it's simply a technique for better hook penetration in all different types of water. And there's hook sets for every situation, but when I'm jig fishing, I'm a slackliner. You look across the tour levels on MLF and bass, there's some strong jig fishermen. Take somebody like Tharp. He's an old school jigger, man. He's gonna flip and pitch, take that big jig, and he's made a lot of money with it. He has his own style hook set that works for him, and his may be a little bit more of a reel down and then kind of lean hard into him. You may have a Jason Christie, it's a slackliner, and Andy Morgan. You may have a Greg Hackney that leans into him. Everybody's got their own style, and it's what works for them and what they've perfected. But to me, it's all about cracking and whacking.